sexual abuse of a child.
Tomorrow marks the 5-year mark for the Santa Fe High School shooting.
And a man in Goliad sentenced to 25 years for possession of a controlled substance.
And we have a clear sky out there, beautiful skies, lovely afternoon, lots of sunshine. How long will this dry weather last? I'll have your forecast coming up.
And the Victoria West football team took to the turf today. We see how that went in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Wednesday afternoon, a Victoria County jury found 45-year-old Rudy Valdez guilty of continuous sexual abuse of a child. They then sentenced him to life in state prison, and he is not eligible for parole. Prosecutors showed Valdez sexually abused a young child in Victoria over the course of a 2-year period beginning in 2016. The victim testified at the trial, along with 3 other young women who also were sexually abused by Valdez.
Wednesday afternoon, fire crews worked a fire in the 1800 block of Parsons Road. A mobile home fire burned for up to 5 hours before it was called into dispatch. Everything was still really wet and the fire was not going to spread to anything, but just as a precaution, the Victoria Fire Department dumped a couple tanks of water on the situation just to make sure the burning stayed under control.
What we'd like to ask the public to do, if they're thinking about burning anything, to please give us a call, whether it's brush piles or anything else. Ask us for advice, and that way we do not have to send resources to a call that's unnecessary for us to go to.
The fire department thinks the mobile home was already leveled and demolished before it was set on fire.
This week, Robin Jones of Goliad pleaded guilty to possession of a controlled substance. Prosecutors say Jones sold drugs to an undercover officer in 2022. Jones was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Tuesday morning at 5 o'clock, Victoria Police responded to 3 apartment complexes about vehicle thefts at the Point Apartments, 2402 North Ben Wilson, Victoria Station Apartments, 1701 Victoria Station Drive, and at the Reserve, 8602 Northeast Zach Lentz Parkway. Officers found tires and rims stolen from a total of 7 vehicles. New Victoria Police Chief Chuck Young told us about another big crime problem in the city.
Some of the youth are having firearms, and we have to get those away from them. Where are they getting the firearms? A lot of them are getting them from car burglaries. So don't forget to take your weapon inside with you at night, lock up your car, hide all of the property that's inside the vehicle, keep that from being a victim, keep yourself from being a victim. Hide, lock, and take.
Chief Young adds that property crime in Victoria is up a little bit and that there is also an uptick in aggravated assaults in the city. Senate Bill 8 would allow parents to use state funds to pay for private schools. They would establish an education savings account program, which in turn would give parents that opt out of public schools $8,000 in taxpayer money per student.
That's right. This is going to bring us to your viewer poll tonight. The question for tonight is, do you think Senate Bill 8 will give parents better opportunities for their children's education? Yes or no? We take a look at the results tonight, and 25% are saying yes, 75% stand at no. Thank you for voting tonight. Visit us tomorrow for our latest viewer poll.
In downtown Victoria, water is over Constitution and Craig Streets and over areas of west of Moody Street between Water and Constitution Streets. Water is also flowing into Riverside Golf Course. The National Weather Service reports the Guadalupe River was at 28.9 feet Wednesday morning. Flood stage is 21 feet. The river expected to fall below flood stage Saturday afternoon and continue falling to 12.4 feet Monday morning. Here are the current river flood warnings posted for the crossroads from the National Weather Service. In Victoria County, a river flood warning in effect until Sunday morning for the Guadalupe River at Victoria. In Victoria and Calhoun counties, a river flood warning in effect until further notice for the Guadalupe River near Bloomington.
In DeWitt County, a river flood warning in effect until early Saturday morning for Sandys Creek near Westhoff. In Jackson County, a river flood warning in effect until Thursday afternoon for the Navidad River at Strain Park. And in Jackson County, a river flood warning until late Thursday morning warning for the Lavaca River near Edna. Now, no river flood warnings left in Lavaca County, but this pecan tree in Hallettsville was uprooted due to 4+ inches of rain that recently fell there. Lavaca County officials report County Road 15 will be closed until repairs can be made after a washout caused by the heavy rains.
So even though the rains and the river's going down, there's still that damage.
That's right.
And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. And Mac, when do you think we're going to really start to see even more of a drop in the river levels?
I'll tell you, after 2 or 3 days of this bright sunshine that we have today, we're going to see a marked decrease in the floodwaters by this weekend, okay? Because there's no additional water falling into there. We had absolutely gorgeous skies today, lots of sunshine, low humidity is always appreciated around here. Out in far west Texas, some storms in the valley, but that high pressure that's over us is going to give us a couple of really nice days. I'll talk to you about your weekend coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. The Victoria Central Appraisal District meeting was this afternoon.
And at that meeting, they announced the resignation of Chairman Lou Swetlik. 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel was at the meeting and has more. Adam?
That's right, Don and Karina. So at today's meeting, they officially accepted that resignation. Sorry. Today's meeting was at the Victoria Central Appraisal District's regular meeting, but on May 12th, board member Lou Swetlik put in his resignation letter, but today it became official after the board accepted his resignation. Now begins the process to fill his vacant seat. So at next Tuesday meetings, the board will notify its entities. Then they have 45 days to nominate and fill the seat. Swetlik had been on the board for 20 years. However, he was not present at today's meeting. Don, Karina, back to you.
Adam, thank you. The Texas Tribune reports Senate Bill 14 is headed to Governor Greg Abbott's desk 2 days after the Texas House passed the legislation. The Senate voted 19-12 to accept the bill's House version. SB 14 would prohibit trans Texans under the age of 18 from accessing transition-related medical treatments. This includes puberty blockers, hormone therapies, and surgeries. Parents opposing the bill warn it'll bring physical discomfort and psychological distress to trans teens. If SB 14 becomes a law, the proposed ban would take effect September 1st.
Tomorrow marks a somber anniversary for a high school in southeast Texas. 5 years ago, May 18th, 2018, 8 students and 2 teachers were killed in a mass shooting at Santa Fe High School. That's about 35 miles southeast of downtown Houston. The suspect, 17-year-old Demetrios Pagurtzis, a student at the school, surrendered after exchanging fire with law enforcement. He is charged with capital murder of multiple people and aggravated assault against a public servant. If convicted, he faces a maximum sentence of 40 years to life. But due to his age at the time of the shooting, he is ineligible for the death penalty or life without parole.
Body cam footage from the Fort Worth police shows officers rescuing an infant who was abandoned after being taken during a car theft. In the video, officers find the 6-month-old boy who was still in a car carrier behind a guardrail at the end of a dead-end road. The officers pull the child out of the car seat and the infant starts crying. Police said the child appeared physically unharmed and was later reunited with the family. The officer who found him says that as a father himself, he can't even imagine what the child's parents must have felt.
I was just elated. It was like an hour and a half of just hour and 20 minutes of just build up of where is this baby, where could it be, where is this vehicle. It's just, and at that moment it's just a pure emotion and just letting it go.
Police do have a suspect in custody in the case. He's being charged with kidnapping, abandoning, and endangering a child and auto theft.
The National Archives say every administration since President Ronald Reagan has mismanaged classified documents. Since 2010, the Office of Information Security Oversight has received more than 80 calls from libraries who found classified information and papers belonging to members of Congress. Because there's no document-level tracking, this presents this issue. Classified documents were found at the properties of President Biden, former President Donald Trump, and former Vice President Mike Pence. The Air National Guardsman accused of leaking classified documents on social media was warned multiple times over mishandling classified information. 21-year-old Jack Teixeira was warned previously, once last September, when he was told to stop taking notes on classified intelligence. Then last October, authorities told him to stop asking specific questions about information he was provided. These details came before a Massachusetts magistrate judge is slated to decide if he'll stay in jail while he awaits trial.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave this week. Port Lavaca and 2 other groups collaborated in a housing workshop aimed to highlight the needs of residents and create a vision for the town site. And Memorial Medical Center is hosting Program Hope, aimed to address mental health in older adults. Plus, the Calhoun Port Authority Board reports that April was a slow month due to a few Formosa plastic vessels because of turnarounds and shutdowns. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com.
Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. The suspect who attacked staffers of a Virginia congressman with a baseball bat faces a federal charge.
Also ahead, a federal appeals court will hear arguments today in the lawsuit seeking to pull an abortion pill from the market.
Who is accused of attacking staffers with a baseball bat at Congressman Jerry Connolly's Virginia office Monday, now facing a federal charge. The 49-year-old man was already charged with 3 felonies and 1 misdemeanor, 2 of which were for the attack that left 2 staffers hurt. 2 others were from a separate incident that occurred the same day, where he chased a woman in his neighborhood with a bat. In an affidavit filed Tuesday, he faces a federal charge of, quote, assault of employee of the United States inflicting bodily injury, unquote.
A federal appeals court is set to hear oral arguments today in the lawsuit seeking to pull the abortion pill mifepristone. A panel of 3 judges at the 5th Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans will decide whether women will continue to have access to this medication. Today's hearing comes 11 months after the Supreme Court ruled to overturn Roe v. Wade. The legal battle began in Texas lower court with a U.S. district judge's ruling to suspend the FDA approval of the drug.
Air pollution is bad for our bodies, and in recent studies shown they're also bad for our minds.
Right, the study shows air pollution can possibly cause more depression and anxiety.
Depression, anxiety, these are some of the most common mental health disorders worldwide, and every year their prevalence appears to be rising. But one of the causes may not be what you expect. breathing the air outside. Researchers in Beijing followed nearly 390,000 adults in the United Kingdom for roughly 11 years. They found that those who lived in areas with more air pollutants had higher risk of developing both depression and anxiety. For years, scientists have raised alarms about how air pollution may affect our heart health or be linked to lung cancer. Now there is more evidence to support how pollution can even impact our brain, possibly leading to mental health disorders. Researchers state these findings continue to support the need for stricter air pollution regulations. With this Medical Minute, I'm Justin Finch, ABC News.
A 46-year-old Florida man faces several charges for stealing 2 rare tortoises that disappeared from a zoo in November of last year. A search warrant executed at the home of Joshua McCarty Thomas led to the discovery of 2 endangered Galapagos tortoises, worth up to $10,000 each. One tortoise was found in the yard, while the carcass of another was found in the freezer. There were other tortoises found in the yard.
So unfortunately, one of the tortoises died at this gentleman's house, and that's bittersweet for us. Of course, we'd like to have them both back, but just having some resolution to this, knowing where the tortoises went, is extremely helpful for my staff.
St. Augustine police said the accused turtle napper snuck the reptiles out of the zoo inside of a stroller during regular business hours. A necropsy will be performed on the dead tortoise to determine how it died. The man is also accused of stealing rare books from 2 stores and valuable comic books.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record this week. Keep Cuero Beautiful honors late President Linda Henderson, and first responders get youth mental health first aid training. Plus, pet adoptions of Cuero visits the Cuero Regional Hospital. You can read these stories and more at DeWakeCountyToday.com.
And good evening, everyone. We've got a very pleasant evening out there because low humidity is always pleasant around here. And we got a lot of sunshine for you all the way through the weekend. We'll have the forecast coming up. Well, good evening, everybody. 76 degrees. You'd think normally that would be very humid and ugly, but it's actually very pleasant out there. I mean, we had abundant sunshine, calm winds, absolutely not a breath in the air. So it's rather unusual for us. You know, we always have the sea breeze blowing. We did manage to get up to 90 degrees this afternoon after a 67 overnight low. That 90, it didn't feel that bad, right? Why? Because usually when we have 90 degrees, we have high humidity. This is courtesy of the dry air that blew in after all those big storms yesterday afternoon and made it rather comfortable. So can we keep it like that for a while is the question, and for a little while we can. Absolutely gorgeous over our area today. We did have some storms in far west Texas out there near Midland and also down in the valley. While we had nothing around here, the valley was sort of the last people to get that little drift of a north wind, and of course the thunderstorms then popped and rolled all the way down there. Of course, as long as they keep moving, we're all right. And that's what happened down there, because it's when they start training over the same area that we get the big flooding. So as far as we are concerned, we're in good shape as we get on into the weekend. These areas that you see in gray here, Houston, Beaumont, Austin, San Antonio, what do you think that is? Air pollution. Yeah, they've got air pollution advisories for tomorrow, because every day your car and my car, we pollute when we drive. Thing is, Mother Nature in Texas gets to blow a lot of that away. Well, tomorrow with high pressure, still winds, lots of sun, it's all going to accumulate down on the ground, and it does break down into what comes out of your exhaust, breaks down into other chemicals that Don was talking about, are not good for us at all. Anyway, we do have improvement along the San Antonio River. The warnings are down. We have warnings along the Guadalupe all the way down to Bloomington, and I believe that by the weekend that will be over with. And the Navidad is getting better, and the the Brazos way out here is also beginning to clear up or get back into its banks. I just wanted to show you that this is the Guadalupe at Bloomington, and here's the interesting part. Of course, down here is when there's no rain. Then it starts to rain, it fills up. And then it fills up, and it stayed right there at the level where it basically breaches its banks. I mean, it's like a cup of coffee full to the brim, and it just stayed there. So, you know, if it had gone up another foot, oh my gosh, we would have had all kinds of lowland flooding. But it does peak right there, and here you are today. Here we are tomorrow. We can zoom in a little bit and show you that by the time we get to Friday, we're going to be right about here doing much better. And by Saturday, hopefully the rivers will all get back into where they belong. Well, high pressure is what we really enjoy around here, and especially when we're on the right side of it, because we're getting that little north wind, and that's what's keeping us on the nice side of everything. Now, over the next couple of days, that high pressure will drop south, and we will see some stormy weather up here. And then there's a little front. Now, it's getting awful late for frontal systems to get down here, but this one is forecast to move down into our area probably on Saturday night, Sunday. So we should get down to about 68 tonight. Tomorrow we'll be looking at a high temperature of about 87, but good looking dry air and sunny skies all the way through Saturday. Slight chance of a cloud or two on Sunday. And other than that, I'm going to call it 7 days with no significant rainfall around the area. That's your 7-day forecast. And now we want to remind you about the QR code. Scan that on your phone, put Crossroads Today, and take us with you wherever you need to go. Right now, we'll toss it over to Gino.
Thanks, Mac. The Texas House passed a bill restricting trans athletes in sports. That's coming up after the break. At a crossroads, the Texas House passes a bill restricting transgender athletes to join college sports teams. Senate Bill 15 would allow people to sue college and universities they believe violate a prohibition on trans athletes' sports participation. The Texas House gave preliminary approval to a bill to prohibit transgender men from competing on men's sports teams and transgender women from joining a women's college athletic team. Democrats made multiple unsuccessful attempts to kill the bill on technicalities and failed to add several amendments that would have watered it down or voided it. The vote was 93-49. The West Warriors spring football game was today, and there was a pretty good turnout. Victoria West head football coach Courtney Boyce said the goal of today's game is to create a game-type environment with the crowd, pressure, and speed of an original game. Boyce went on to say the West team is filled with a bunch of competitors, and it is a different type of team this year than in years past. Big-time playmakers this season are projected to be quarterback Camden Repper and running back Kamari Montgomery. And a St. Joseph athlete is heading up to Wisconsin to play 2 sports at the collegiate level. Earlier today, Marshall Hobbs signed his letter of intent to play football and basketball at Lakeland University in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, in front of friends and family at the St. Joe Dome. On the turf, Hobbs played wideout and was a deep snapper. On the hardwood, the senior was a shooter and ball handler, so he's going to stay around the point guard position. He said that he is looking forward to meeting new people and creating a new family up there. But having his brother there is also one of the reasons why he's heading up to the home of the Cheeseheads.
I'm lucky to have a mom who's willing to help me through anything and everything. I just stayed in touch for so long, so it just became so easy just to say, hey, I'm going to come, and they're like, well, you already got a spot, you know.
His mother said she is going to see more of the games this year because she will not have to go to Friday night games anymore. Marshall said he did not want to play football his freshman year, but his coach talked him into it, and the rest is history. UHV baseball season comes to an end earlier today in the NAIA opening round. The Jaguars took on Ave Maria University, and in the bottom of the 9th inning, the Jags had a chance to win the game. The Jaguars would fall behind early and eventually lose the game 4-3 in the end. UHV had 2 errors in the game, and it might have cost them the game. UHV finished with a 28-27 record, and this is the first time it has had a winning season since 2015, and matched the single-season postseason wins record with a total of 6. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
All right, Gino, thank you. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. We'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, the 17th annual Warriors Weekend returns to the Crossroads this Friday. Cuts the mustard. Goodbye, Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
No.
Hello, Frank Mobile, the beloved Wienermobile, hitting the road this summer with a new name. The change is in honor of the brand's 100% Beef Frank's new recipe. The fleet of 6 Frank Mobiles feature new exterior decals, including a please do not lick one. Anyone with an iteration of the name Frank can get a coupon for a free pack of beef franks.
Heck yeah.
I relish that thought. Oscar Meyer says this is the first time the vehicle has changed names since 1936.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
The 17th annual Warriors Weekend returns to the Crossroads Friday. 300 military veterans will be in a caravan Friday afternoon through Ganado and Edna first. They are scheduled to arrive in Victoria Friday afternoon at the Warriors Weekend Field of Honor at Parkway Church, 4802 North John Stockbauer Drive. After that, a caravan down North Navarro at around 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. Warriors Weekend Board member Colonel Mike Petrosh tells us Warriors Weekend is very important to these veterans.
And we just want all the citizens, who are within the sound of my voice to come out and make sure that they understand that their service and sacrifices are honored.
Saturday Warriors Weekend continues with a fishing trip at Port O'Connor for the veterans. And talking with veterans from the past who have come here from all around the country for this. This is something that really touches them because they really don't get a lot of generosity from other people and thanks for all that, but to go down Navarro and people waving American flags and then get to fish at Port O'Connor, it really means a lot to them.
Absolutely.
And in honor of the Warriors, I'm going to provide great weather. Okay.
We salute you.
Thank you. I know I salute them. My grandfather went to World War I, and when they came back, there was all kinds of pomp and circumstance and celebration, and but it was a different time. So I'm glad for them. So yes, we got some great weather for the weekend. Tomorrow, lots of sun, getting up to about 87, about 90 on Friday and Saturday. Low humidity is going to make it very pleasant. There is a slight chance with a frontal passage on Sunday night of a cloud or a sprinkle. I don't expect it really to be much of anything, but by and large we've got drying conditions, and we needed it. We needed the rain, but we also need now the dry period to get back into the shape like we were. And some yards need to get done too.
That's right. Alrighty, y'all. So we've all seen the Titanic, right? But here's never before seen view of the Titanic on the ocean floor. These scans from deep sea investigators released today give a full comprehensive picture of the Titanic. A final digital replica captures the entire wreck, including both the bow and stern section, which had been separated upon sinking. Experts say the project could help uncover more details on this disaster, including exactly how the ship broke apart as she sank. Titanic hit an iceberg and sank on April 14th, 1912, killing more than 1,500 people on board on that tragic day.
It's amazing there's still that much left of the ship 121 years later.
And to be able to get the detail
111 years later, excuse me. Just amazing.
I mean, just look at that. It's incredible.
It really is.
Wow.
Alrighty, y'all. Well, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. And remember, we're streaming 24/7 on Crossroads Today Plus.
Join Carolina Astroin and meteorologist Trey Mining for 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.